Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Becoming a Mummy. As you know, this space is for all our mothers, mothers to be, aspiring, I don't know, later mothers. I don't know what to call them. Your grannies too. Everybody who is into parenthood. We focus on mothers, but it is a platform for all parents, whether you're a guardian, you're a daddy, you know, we want you here, all of you. So this week we are having another very fun topic that I am very excited to share with you guys. We will be talking about a working mom and a stay-at-home mom because Louisa, as you know, is a working mom and I am your I'm a stay-at-home mom. So we'll just be comparing. If you watched our previous episode where we did single mom versus married mom, this is a little bit similar, but this week, obviously, we are looking at employment. But before we dive into that, Louisa, how has your week been?
It's been awesome. I don't know, it's been awesome. Though there's been a lot of church happening. That's been an interesting time. So a lot of church, and I finally decided what I wanted to do for Evan's birthday, which is
Yay!
coming up. So Evan's birthday is on Thursday. Wait, is one on the Thursday? I think yeah, one is on a Thursday. So it's on the 1st of December, actual start of the month. So it's going to be midweek. So
Yeah.
obviously it's not possible to like bring everyone together on that specific day. So on that specific day, I just want to stay home and be with him, spend time with him, just so he can feel it that you know it's his birthday. And I plan on taking a holiday from work from the first until the Sunday of that same week, so I just have enough
Aw.
time to like spend with him. And then on that Sunday, which is the 4th of December, I am thinking of just having a little get together, so a bit of lunch, bringing family, a few friends, not really much friends, a lot of family, my best friend. And yeah, we're just going to share lunch and cut a cake, and yeah, that'll be it for his birthday. I figured not to do too much because it was stressing me up.
Yeah, yeah, I think you did the
Yeah,
right thing. And what is a birthday without cake, hey? So, yay for cake on
exactly.
Sunday.
So that's what I zeroed in on, and it came after our last conversation because I was like, I don't have to stress so much about what I'm going to do for his birthday. Let me just keep it short and simple and sweet, and just yeah, let
Mm,
him be happy, but surrounded by
yeah,
people he loves and everyone that loves him.
I
How's
totally
your week been?
agree. And take lots of
Hmm.
photos. Don't forget to take lots of photos. Take lots of
I
photos on the
will
first.
share it
Take
with
lots
you
of photos on the
guys.
lunch. We want to see how big he's grown.
Hey, that boy is big. How's your week been? What's been interesting your side?
Yeah, keep all the memories. I think for me, my week has also been a good week. What did I do? I can't remember. I can't remember what I did with my week, but it's been an okay week. Quite
Yeah.
quite a good week actually. I spent most of my time this weekend just downtime, chilling with the family. So I really enjoyed that because we haven't done that in a while.
Yeah.
And I've been taking classes, and next weekend is going to be graduation. It's all going to be done, and I kind of feel, I don't know, you know,
What? I'm
I
proud.
feel I'm happy because, I did it, I stuck it out. But at the same time, I feel like I'm going to miss all these awesome people that I've met. And you know how life is
Yeah.
because we're all coming from different spaces. And sometimes you're
Yeah.
not in the same line of things and whatever. So I kind of feel like I'm going to lose contact with a lot of them, all these awesome ladies. And because of that, I just feel, some type of way. But I'm super excited for
Yeah.
graduation. Also, going to take a lot of photos because memories. So yeah, that's also like another thing for
No, but I'm
me.
I'm
But
so proud of
other than
you
that,
that
the like the week has been good. So, with no further
Awesome.
ado, let us jump into today's topic because, yes,
Yay!
we have to. Let's jump into the topic. So,
All right.
I think one of the biggest things that a lot of people, myself included, contemplate after having a child is, if you were working, you're wondering, should I go back to work? If you were not working, you are wondering, should I, enter the job market? Like for me, I used to work. So my thing was, when I got married, I moved to another city. So I left my job, and I was like, as soon as I'm gonna get, like my first thing is I am going to look for a job. But then I felt
Yeah.
pregnant, and then even then I kept telling myself that I was looking for a job while I was pregnant because it's a new city. I want to secure that employment, and we always had this dynamic, this discussion that I am going to work. It wasn't like you're going to stay at home type of thing. And after, well, my pregnancy wasn't an easy one. So obviously, a couple of months in, I realized that I wasn't going to be able to work. So then my timeline kind of shifted, and I was like, as soon as I give birth to this baby, couple of months in, I'm going back to work. And I think it was a couple of days even after I gave birth. That's when I was like, mm-mm, not going to
Nope.
happen. So it's not like I stopped looking, but I wasn't very active in my looking. I was just like, yeah, whether I get the job, I don't get the job, I want to stay with my child. I remember how my sister was actually laughing at me earlier today because it used to freak me out even to think of leaving her with her grandparents. I would literally have anxiety, like panic attack things. And I was like, I cannot leave this child with anybody, which is also why I only started taking her to preschool now. She was 2.5, I think, when she started going. And even then, it was, I struggled so much. I remember the first couple of weeks, she used to go twice a week when she started. Now she's going every day because I kept thinking, are they gonna be okay? Is she gonna be okay? Am I gonna be okay? I think it was for
Yeah.
me more than it was for her. I kept thinking, oh my gosh, this child, I can't leave her. So the major part of me being a stay-at-home mom, of course, like the job market is hard and whatever, and probably if I had to, I would have, but then I just thank God that nothing ever pushed me to that point of, like you have to leave your child before I was ready for it. I think she was ready a year ago. I wasn't.
Yeah.
So, because I could tell she was getting bored, her brain needed more stimulation, and being at home wasn't enough
Yeah.
for her anymore. But I just could not. And then I started taking classes, so I had to take her there. But like that's a thing for me. That's how my process went. I really was not really ready to leave my child with another person. So that being
Yeah.
said, I know you've previously mentioned that you have a helper who helps you with Evan, and your mom is also there. So my
Yeah.
question really would not be, do you have people? Because we know you have people.
Yeah. I
But
have people around. Yeah.
yeah, so because you have somebody with you, I just wanted to find out, um like, was that something that you weighed up the cost of it, like you getting a person to come and help versus taking the child to childcare, like to a preschool or something? Like, what was the thought process there? Was it, were you did you feel it was safer to have somebody with you at home, or was it because of the cost? Like, how did you get to that decision to say, okay, I'm going to get somebody to come and help me who's going to be with me all the time?
So I think it's a bit of both. I never felt, because I had to leave my baby at 3 months and go back to work.
Wow, that was
Regardless,
early.
It was, but regardless, I was still working. So from the moment I gave birth, I was still working. I only had like a week off, and then I would work. So I think the blessing in disguise was God giving me a child that was not, I don't want to say difficult because they're not difficult, but just a child that needed me constantly. He was an easy child, you know. You give him food, he sleeps, he does this, he does that. It gave me a lot of time to work on other things, be it my personal stuff or work stuff. So I was working right after I gave birth to him. So there was no break initially. It was just
Wow.
I'm not going to be in the office full time, but I'll still be working at home. So yeah, I think that's why we say we slave. I was really slaving at that moment, So I always tell my colleagues I was never on maternity leave. I was just out of the office, but I was still working. That's how it was. So I was still working at home. So when time came for me to leave, I had a helper beforehand because
Oh,
obviously I had a C-section and my mom had to go back to work. So I needed someone who was constantly there because I couldn't do a lot of the stuff that I needed to do. I couldn't take care of the house. I couldn't take care of the baby properly because of my wound. It was still healing. So I needed someone who was constantly there to look after me and the child. So that was one reason of having a helper. And then also I just there have been many stories. I think leading up to my birth, there were a lot of stories of women just, telling me, "Oh, I took my baby right I was getting off of maternity leave. I took my baby to school and found out that they wouldn't feed him or they wouldn't change his diaper the whole day."
oh
And
wow.
that just gave me anxiety because I always would feel, what if they do this to my own,
Mm,
And it just felt like a hazard more than something that would help me.
yeah,
So I decided it was not worth it. I did not want the stress. And at the time when I decided to go back to work, my mom and I had an agreement where she has a salon. So our agreement was every day she would take Evan and the helper. So they would go to the salon where she can, kind of supervise, and then that way we're at least assured that everything is going fine until we were certified that she was ready to be home alone with the child and that nothing would happen. So it took a minute. It was a whole 2 months of now adding another cost of transport for these guys just to like take them from point A to point B and then back home.
yeah.
And it was kind of stressful for my mom as well because running a salon and then having to take care of a child while you're doing your business is not really something that is
Mm,
recommended. I wouldn't recommend that to anyone actually, but it was something that was needed. And it gave me a peace of mind every day when I went to work because I knew he was with someone that I trusted with my whole life.
yeah,
So that after the 2 months we were certified that he could now stay home because yeah, the helper is really someone who's very caring and treats him very like her own child. So that's when we made a transition for them to stay home. But that was like the whole mind process. And to also think of it, preschools are really expensive.
yes,
Like
yes,
the
yes.
ones I
Oh
would
my
look
God.
at, they would be in about 150 or 200K, which
Mm,
I think in rands, how much is kwacha trading to rand? Must be 70, like 70 kwacha to, I can't do the I work in accounts, but I can't do mental calculations. I'm sorry. All I'm going to say is, but if I was to put it in dollars, then I would have to say it's about $200 or about $250 per, you know, and some charge per month, which I was like, guys, please. I can't take care of diapers, I can't do formula, I can't do that, I can't do
imagine.
that. And then pay you guys that nah, at that moment I didn't need that stress. So that was like the whole mind process, basically, of leading up
I'm
to
really
me.
glad that you brought up the expenses thing because for me, I think it just gave me more of an excuse, more of an um, incentive, really, to say, okay, I'm gonna
Yeah.
send this child to preschool when she's old enough to eat on her own, potty trained, and all of that, because the younger ones are just a little bit more expensive. So I really
Yeah.
do get what you're saying there. If I compare the prices you're telling me, about $200 would be about 4,000 rand, I think,
Mm-hmm.
more or less, give or take.
Yeah.
And where I stay, those are like some of the prices. There are people who live in other places who have it like much cheaper, who won't even pay like 1,000 rand for preschool. But
Yeah.
yeah, where I am, it's more or less the same per month. So, which is also part of the reason why when she started going, she would go a couple of days a week, because I just could not, but
Yeah.
yeah. So that being said, also on that expenses note, I for one know that it I would like to think, I don't know how you are. So I just want to compare a couple of things in terms of expenses. Like um myself, I'm like such a, I don't want to say a cheapskate, but a cheapskate. Because I would hunt down sales. Like if I'm gonna get it cheaper, trust me, I am gonna get it cheaper. I do
Yep.
mind, not brands per se, but the quality of things. I do check. So if I hunt it down because it's on special this month and I see that it's not up to par, then obviously I'm not gonna go back. But I do my
Yeah.
best to try and get the cheapest thing I can. So I hunt specials. Another thing for me that I think would be an advantage because I'm at home is that I can cook to my heart's content. So,
Yes.
preparing meals and things like that. And then I'll also say, I think the downside of it is that if I'm taking my child to preschool, then we have to cater for transport. And you also mentioned transport when your helper was going with your mom.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
things like that. I just wanted to compare and check, like, do you get time to actually, like, if you want to say, find a sale, Black Friday is coming. So, okay, it's gonna be past when when we do that, but maybe it's a Black Friday weekend type thing, Do you
Yeah.
get time to actually do that? Or if you just want a meal, like some of these meals will take forever to cook. Do you actually get time to do stuff like that?
I only have weekends. And with weekends, the thing is, I have Evan full time by myself. So there's
Mm,
no one helping me during the weekend. It's just me and him. And yeah. So it's pretty hard. I think even last time when we were recording, I told you I don't remember the last time, I was able to do some stuff or
yeah.
whatever because I never have the time. I go to work early in the morning, I'm home at around 6, and then if it's 6, then I only have like an hour or an hour and a half to spend time with him, feed him, make sure he's cleaned and everything and ready for bed, and then yeah, the day's gone and you wake up the next day and it's the same thing. So there's the cost of having to be a working person and having to take care of a child even though they're home is quite a bit, because at the end of the day, you have to take care of yourself while you're at work and make sure
Mm,
the people that are back home are also well taken care of. So there's that you have to take care of. And I just wanted to concur that with me as well. I don't think I will be very fast in putting him in school because of the same reasons you gave, where I want to make sure he's well potty trained. I want to make sure he's not wearing diapers anymore, or at least, because I just need him to be independent enough
yeah, yeah.
um, for his age to actually go and be with some people new. But for
Mm,
right now, I'm very content with him staying at home and just receiving all this training from home. And yeah, because I don't have the energy to like start stressing about how's my child being taken care of. I just can't, I can't. I love how he's being taken care of at home, and that's about it. And then going back to answering your question, currently things that I've been doing to like save costs and whatnot is because of how things keep rising. So if I'm going to work, I will pack, I will get packed lunch because food in town is expensive. So I
Mm.
will get packed lunch to make sure I don't have to spend a lot of money. So if I'm spending money at work, it's basically just buying a bottle of water or a fizzy drink or some, just that. Nowadays, I'm very like you. I am very, the cost of everything nowadays is really something
It's
I
just
check
too
on.
much.
Exactly. I used to do this thing where I would buy two types of brands of diapers. So I would buy the cheapskate and buy Pampers. Pampers used to be for the nighttime, for when he has to have them longer. And then the cheaper ones would be for the afternoon for what, because he's like roaming around playing and whatnot, and he gets changed as often. So I would get the cheap ones and the expensive ones for those two exact reasons. Until I bought a lower, brand,
Priced.
which gave him diaper rash. And it was so bad, I decided, okay, I was done. Pampers it was. So even with that, it still hurts me because I'm always just like, I could have saved. If I had just bought the cheap ones, I would have saved. But at the end
That
of the
is
day, like
one
you're trying to
expense
make
I
sure.
don't miss. I do not miss buying diapers. I don't.
And in the beginning I used to save on formula because I'll just pump. And until he decided, I don't want your pumped milk. If you're going to give me breast milk, I want it direct from the source. And I was like, right, cool, formula it is. So he doesn't really help me in the saving area. He likes to spend. I don't like to spend. I like to save.
Like for
So
me, that was
I try and
another
save
thing
as
that
much.
I really saved on because my child from birth would just not drink formula. I think I mentioned it in
Yeah,
one
you
episode
did.
before.
You
She
did.
just
You're
would not.
lucky.
So as a stay-at-home mom, I was like, do I really need to? So I tried. In the
You're
beginning, I really
lucky.
tried because I don't know if I was trying to be fancy or whatnot because I was at home. But yeah, she was just like, nope, not with me. We are going to do the breast thing.
You're so lucky. Mine was a whole different ball game. But one thing I'm going to say is that the hardest thing that I've had to learn in on this journey, if I was to ever have another child, I think it would still be the same. I don't think the guilt would change. But the guilt of having to leave your child home as you go to work is something that you never get rid of. And if you're pregnant and are about to be a mom, but like you're a working mom, you know for sure you have to leave your child at some point, then you need to get ready for the guilt because it will hunt you down every single day, especially on days when, they're not feeling too great. Not like that the too sick, but like they're just in that mood
Yeah,
where
yeah.
it's not like they're sick, it's not like anything's wrong, they're just in their own emotional moment, and you have to still leave them and go to work. The guilt will eat you because you the every single time all you'll be thinking about is my child fine, is my child this, I would have spent more time with my baby, I would
Mm,
have done this. And sometimes you kind of feel like you don't really know your child because you don't spend time with your child. You kind of feel like you'll have these moments being stolen away from you. And it's not the case. It's really not the case, but you just feel like that's happening. Especially on moments when, the person that's watching your child tells you, oh, hey, your baby just started doing this. And you're there like, oh, it's the first time he's done that. That's when the guilt hits more because you're like, oh, I wasn't there for the first time of this or that, and the guilt eats at you. So every time, if you're pregnant now, and you're going to be a working mom, just be ready for that guilt, and don't let it eat at you too much, because the more you do, the more you are prone to get depression. Just understand that even if you're working, you're not doing it just for you, but you're doing it because you want the baby's life to be a little more softer, let's just say. That has to be that has to be a motivation to where, like, oh, I'm doing this for my child, I need to do this for my child. But if you can afford the luxury of staying home, you know, I would say I've been envying stay-at-home moms every single time. And so if you have the luxury, please go ahead, stay at home, be with your baby until when you feel like, but like be with your baby if you can.
I totally agree with you. But on the flip side, I'll say as a stay-at-home mom, especially with our generations, younger generations, you really don't want to feel like you are not economically contributing to your household, especially if you've
Yes.
worked before. That's actually something that I
Yes.
should have mentioned in our previous episode about being married and all of that. Because for me,
Yeah.
I think it really took a mental turnaround. Because for a bit there, I really felt like I'm not doing enough. In as much as I'm at home, and I am at home because I'm looking after this child. Our child. But like I'm looking after the baby, so I'm at home because of that. Because it's not always that you at home because
Yeah.
you don't have a job, the job market is the way that it is. Sometimes you literally live your job, a job that's there for you, and you leave
Yeah.
it because you want to look after this child. And I think because you're just so used to contributing, to knowing a certain amount is going to come in at a certain time, and then all of a sudden that's gone. So firstly, you're
Yeah.
dealing with the issue of not having your own income. Secondly, you're dealing with the issue of feeling like you're not contributing, so kind of like a
Yeah.
burden to this other person, because everything is now, they're facing everything financially. And because of that,
Yeah.
you will feel some type of way. So if you're feeling like that, you take the decision to stay at home, you need to just remember that you are doing this for your child. The reason why you're staying is that
Yeah.
your child is safer, your child grows up in a loving way. You're giving this your all. They have all your attention. If anything were to
Mm-hmm.
happen, the worst thing that can happen, like for me, is having my child at daycare and they call me and they say the child is sick, and maybe you're not in a position to get up and go. That was part.
Yeah.
Those are the kind of reasons why I was like, I'm going to stay with her a little bit longer, because of things like that. So you just need to keep reminding yourself, I'm doing this for my child, I'm here because of my child. I might not be able to contribute in a certain way, but there is another way that I'm contributing, and that's the most important thing. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's also like something that you need to keep on reminding yourself. And you must also remember not to spoil your child. Just because you're at home doesn't mean you have to be the most lenient person out there. Like if they're being naughty, you tell them no, because you're going to send them
Yeah.
to somebody who's not going to be able to tolerate those things. And then you end up
That's true.
hearing all these stories. But for me, you touched on daycare horror stories, I'll call them that. For me, it was actually the opposite. A lot. I actually felt safer sending my child to daycare than having somebody here when I'm not here. I don't want to what like scare you because you're somebody at home doing that. But I've seen stories, man, all these tales of people um, rubbing toilets with people's toothbrushes, not fielding children. A couple of weeks ago, I actually saw something shocking. Um, a, a, a parent had a child, and this child was 9 months, and this child got sick, so sick, like they could not
Yeah.
explain why. And they took the child to the hospital, and hospitals being hospitals, they ran blood tests, and it comes back this child is HIV positive. And the parents are wondering what the heck, because we are both negative. They actually tested them, and both the parents were negative. And they're like, how? Only to find out like weeks later that their maid had been breastfeeding their child, and the maid was HIV positive. Can you imagine that? That was like my reaction, like, what? people are doing things like this. So for me, it just solidified my decision to say, okay, I did the right thing. Sending my daughter to preschool was the best because it's a crazy world out there. So
What?
for every what do you call, like, for every positive for daycare there's a negative, like with anything in life, and for every positive for nanny there's, you look so shocked. You still look so
I'm
shocked.
still processing. I'm still processing.
Yeah.
It hasn't sunk in yet because
And the
what?
most shocking thing for me was that I saw it on Twitter, and there were a lot of comments under it where people are like, "Yeah, people maids do that, helpers do that. Yeah, I know of one that," and I was like so shocked because the amount of people who were agreeing were just.
Excuse me. I hope they took her to court, and I hope she's jailed because
I don't
no
even
way.
think they have laws for things like that. What will you charge her with? Taking care of the baby. She'll just say maybe the baby didn't want um formula.
No,
The baby
but
wasn't
like
eating.
if you don't tell me that my child is not eating, then you're not helping me. At the end of the day, you're killing my child. I don't care if you're fine, if you're not fine, but if you do, I love to know everything that my child does at every single time. You know, the way that I knew that my baby was refusing um, bottled milk, like the one that I was pumping, is because my maid told me, she was like, I've been trying to give him and he keeps, neglecting it.
Mm,
And then we tried formula and he took that. And I was
at
like,
work.
fine, from now on, let's give him formula. Until when he was 7 months and he started showing signs he didn't really love formula. So we started finding ways to like um include formula in some of the stuff he was eating, like his baby food, porridge,
Yeah.
anything would add a bit of baby of the formula to it,
So
just so
you
he
can
can
eat.
secondhand consume it, regardless. And then we started introducing stuff that, like yogurts and whatnot. And
Yeah.
the only way I was able to do that is because my maid was forefront with me to say, now he doesn't
This
like
is
this,
what's
now he
going
doesn't
on.
like that. Yeah, like at every, even when I call her just to find out how everything is at home, she'll tell me, oh, in the morning he did this, he slept at this time, woke up at this time, he ate at this time, he ate this, he did this, he did that. That way I'm in the loop of what's going on at home, and I don't feel like, I'm being left out of
Yeah.
what's happening.
Yeah.
So I would feel like an invasion of, I don't know, but I would also feel like you're harming my child in a way if you start breastfeeding my baby without letting me know what you're doing, because I have to put a pass on it. So I don't care if the law is not there. As long as, it's something that I did not agree to, then there's a problem. We have a problem. And if you decided to start breastfeeding my child and you knew you're
Yeah.
HIV positive, then you're trying to kill my child. So in a way, they could be that situation. Yeah, I don't care, you know? And now I kind of understand because a lot of people, I remember when I was looking for a maid, a lot of people told me they're like, if you're looking for a maid to look after your child, please make sure you get them tested and you know them health wise, how they are. That
Yeah, because
way,
people do
there's
crazy
nothing
things.
like. Exactly, I've heard of people, of women actually, who are positive, just take up their own blood or something just to like make sure they spread it along. And I never
Mm.
wanted that to happen, so I made sure, with every single one that I've had, I had to make sure they do things in a way that does not harm the child, my child. I know I'm not here all the time, but
Yeah.
the amount of time I'm home, I try and make sure that there is nothing, even like when it comes to me checking the child, every single time I come from work, I will look at him from head to toe. I want to make sure his birthmark is where I left it. I don't want the birthmark to move 1 inch. If it moves, I will notice. I'll be like, this is not where I left it in the morning. How has it
Yeah.
changed? You know? Because people really do the craziest things. And I remember also, this is just a piece of advice. One of the many advices that I got before I gave birth, was that if I was going to have a helper, if I want them to help my child, I need to be more understanding and a
Yes.
bit patient. You know, the one thing that I've seen a lot of women not be able to do is be a bit understanding with the person that's helping them in the household.
Mm.
So there'll be a lot of screaming, there'll be a lot of this, a lot of that. And then at the
Yeah.
end of the day, what the psychological situation that usually happens with maids and helpers and whatnot, or let's just say domestic workers, is they don't decide to hurt you, but they hurt you in the worst way, which is through your child. So
Mm.
you find things like they will beat your child, they'll do this to your child, they
Yes.
do that,
Yes.
all because there's something that you do to them
They're trying to
that they're
take it
trying to
out on the
get back
child.
at you. Yeah, so
Mm.
they'll take it out on the child. So the first thing that, if you know you're not going to be a stay-at-home mom, if you know you're going to leave your child with someone, they please make sure you're kind to them so they can be kind to your child. Because if you're not kind to
Exactly.
them, they're so unkind to your child to a point where if you are to hear or to see the things that they do to your child, it will make you cry. I'm not saying mine is perfect. I don't know what happens at home when I'm not there, but I get content with how I find my child, because even with kids, you can actually see the behavior,
Yes, the
when
character
they're with someone.
changes.
Yeah, like if they can't speak, you will see the change through how they're behaving. You'll see that they'll go a bit quieter. They don't like to
Mm.
really be around the person that, the domestic worker. There's just something that can give you a clue that there's something wrong happening within your
Mm.
household. So even like, if you have that little instinct, please use it. If you feel like that person's soul is not really getting along with yours, do not let them go home with the quickness, is what I'm going to say. Let them go home until you find someone who you can feel that your spirit, is in connection with. But the first thing is first, always be kind to the people that are helping you with your child. Because I'll say this again, if you are unkind to them, they'll be unkind not to you, but to your child.
To
And
your
your child
child.
is very innocent in everything. They do not have to get the BS that these people can do.
Mm.
So that's a very important thing to note as a working mom.
Yeah. Um.
Yo,
Yeah.
that
Hey.
story really didn't meant to work.
It's really,
I
really
wish I
crazy
didn't know
out
it.
there. But yeah, I enjoyed this. I think we're gonna wrap up.
Yep.
A lot of things to think about, a lot of thoughts to, you know. So do think
Yeah.
about it. Let us know your stories. If there's anything you relate to, anything you think we left out, just drop it in the
Yeah.
comments. We love you guys. So as always, we're gonna tell you to subscribe, to like our video,
Subscribe.
share it with your
Yes,
friends,
yes.
and keep coming back, man. If this is your first time coming across us, thank you so much for watching, for sticking out this episode with us, and remember to watch the previous ones, and yeah, follow us on
Please.
social media. Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Follow us on social media, guys. Follow us, please, and
But
thank
please
you so
subscribe.
much
We've been
for
so stuck. We've been so stuck on
for doing
78
this with us.
subscribers. We really want to get to 100 subscribers. So please subscribe. Like with everything else, subscribe. We're tired of being on 78 subscribers. Unless, okay, fine. Let's make it simple. Let's hit 80. I don't think 80 is that difficult. Just two more people and we'll be on 80, and then we'll start campaigning for 90 and then 100 and then so
Yes.
on and so
Yes.
forth. But
Yes.
regardless, we love you guys for watching and sticking it up with us. Thank you so much. It's been awesome. And give us ideas of what our next episodes should be about. Would
Yes. What
really
do you want us
love
to
to
talk
hear from you
about?
guys. Exactly.
We love you. Thank you.
Bye.